On day one of Louise's course, we had to do some exercises using just a yellow, a blue, a red, 3 primary colours, black and white. On day two, there isn't a lesson, but there is an extra demo and a little bit of homework that we can do should we want to. And this is all about learning how to mix colours. I am a complete beginner at this, as you know, and I'm just going to have a play. So I will put you on time lapse. The finished colour chart. Not brilliant. I don't like the big marks that I've made, but you know, I'm getting to learn the paints. This is where I need really big sheets of paper that I can concertina fold, because it doesn't work when you've stuck them together. On another day, I mixed these together, smaller brush and a little bit more success. I didn't go mad with all of the colours. Do love this lime green, and I did start to use the Studio 3 acrylics that I bought as my primaries. Love the bright red there. I also wanted to see what I could do with watercolours, so I bought a black watercolour liquid in a little tube and a white one, and these are my Dinkles that I got from Lavinia. The pigment powders are very bright. Look how deep that red is there. That's the magenta, and then I've mixed them with white, and I quite like that. I like how mixing with blue gives kind of like some opacity. Did I say mixing with blue? I mean mixing with white. Anyway, let's move on to day 3, lesson 2. It's lesson 2 of the creative reset, find your joy. And I'm a little bit daunted today, guys. I have to tell you, in retrospect, looking at what I did in lesson 1, I'm actually quite pleased with it, and I've cut it all down. Today is a drawing exercise, and I have always told myself that I can't draw. There are 8 5-minute exercises, and they're all in a similar theme. With rules attached. So I'll just quickly go through, and then I'm going to put these on a time lapse for you, and we'll have a look at the end if I'm brave enough. So the first exercise, all of these, you set a 5-minute timer. So the first one is a blind selfie. So look at yourself in a mirror and draw what you see. Don't look at the work. The second one is the same, but with 2 layers, and you can use 2 different media. On the second media, you're allowed to look twice. The third one is a blind selfie. So again, looking at yourself in a mirror with your non-dominant hand. I'm laughing just thinking about this. This is going to look so juvenile, guys. But you know, it's about finding your joy, and actually I'm laughing and giggling, which is quite sweet, isn't it? I'm also terrified of what I'm going to produce, but it's not about finding this. It's not about producing something that you like. It's about letting go and having some creative freedom and not judging yourself. The fourth one is a blind selfie with something awkward, so a big crayon or paint. 5 is a blind selfie in charcoal or pastel. I don't have either of those, but I have got pastel pencils, so I'm going to try those. 6 is a blind selfie in pen. 7 is only by touch. So you're not looking at yourself, you're just touching your face. And the last one is combine at least 2 of the techniques that you have enjoyed. Whilst you're doing this all the time, you are supposed to be looking at yourself and not being critical, but looking at things like the struggles you've had in your life, achievements that you've had, what have you overcome, what are you good at, what would people say they like about you, what would they say is your best quality. Now, like a lot of women of a certain age, I don't like spending a lot of time looking at myself in a mirror because I can see all the flaws. But Louise made an absolutely fabulous point in her introduction that she was having a conversation with a friend who spent the time saying, I don't like my tummy, I don't like this, I don't like that. And Louise said those aren't the things that she notices about her friend. So we are our own worst critics, aren't we? Anyway, here we go. I'm going to set a 5-minute timer and put you on time lapse. There is the first one. It was really hard not to look down, really hard. And I think what I've learned is, I mean, look how many eyes I've got. I think what I've learned is that on the next selfie, which is going to be harder actually because I've got to use 2 medium, but I am allowed to look twice when I put the second layer down. I found the 5 minutes a really long time actually. And look, you can see my attempt at the mouth there. Here's an eye. Where are my glasses? And where are my glasses? That's a bit of a glass. That's a bit of a glass, but I haven't finished it off. There's my hair. That's quite accurate actually because I'm quite bald on the top of my head. So yes, let's just put exercise. Let's put X1. Yes, I'm using I don't know what I'm using. I'm using artist card actually, I think. Yes, media artist card. So that's number 1. Number 2, let me just check. You are allowed to use 2 layers of different media. So I'm going to use watercolour pencils and watercolour. I'm going to use this granulating from Gansai Tambai. And I'm going to go with the Cosmic Blue, I think. No, or shall I go for the Cosmic Violet? I'm going to go for one of these, Cosmic Blue or Cosmic Violet as my second. And then let's choose a watercolour pencil. So again, I've got to do the same thing. And I'm going to try and really think hard about what? About how I'm actually constructing my image. Let's go for this colour. So I'm going to do the same thing, put you on time lapse and set a 5-minute timer. And there we have it. Again, I found it quite hard not to look. I like the play of the watercolour, granulated watercolour with the watercolour pencil. And I think the glasses and the eyes are quite good. Just, yeah, I don't know quite what's going on. I've got 2 noses again. It's so hard not to look, but I promise you I didn't cheat other than the 2 times I was allowed to look, which is why I've got these 2 little dots here for the nose. What I'm thinking as I'm looking at this, actually, I'm concentrating on the feel of the medium on the paper more than I'm thinking about myself. So yes, let's crack on now with number 3. I think that was the most uncomfortable 5 minutes so far. I did find it quite hard to use my non-dominant hand, and I hadn't realised that I picked up the watercolour pencil again rather than the sketching pencil which I intended to use, but never mind, you know. As I was doing that little 5-minute exercise, I was conscious of all the lines on my face, and I know that we don't like looking at ourselves as we get older, as I've already said, and that we get very critical of our appearance. Louise has said a really interesting thing that I'm going to try and adopt. It's no good harking back or wanting to have the days where you felt you were pretty. You know, life is what it is. We are moving forward, and I particularly, as a 3 times cancer survivor, I'm lucky to still be here to tell the tale. So to actually, you know, have lines on my face. Some people die too young and don't have that history on their face. So I'm very lucky. Let's move on to number 4 now, which is a blind selfie with something awkward. For example, a big crayon or paint. I don't quite know what I'm going to do, so I'm going to hunt for something, put you on time lapse for that 5 minutes again. It's so hard not to look at your work. I think that was my most uncomfortable one so far. I thought the non-dominant hand was, but yes. So I chose the paint, and I chose a biggish brush. You can just about see a mouth there, an attempt at a face shape and some hair, but yes, not my finest hour. I'm quite looking forward to the next one, which is, so this would be number 5, blind selfie in charcoal or pastel. As I say, I haven't got either of those, so I'm going to be using soft pastel pencils, which I've never used. So what colour shall we go for? I need to label this, but this has got 2 layers. There's layer 1. And there's layer 2. Might go for a brown, actually. Let's try one of these browns. So I'll just get that out ready, and I'm going to try and intuitively smudge with my finger as I go. Yes, let me just get these things out of the way, and I'll be back on time lapse. So there we go with the pastel crayons. Yes, again, it's so hard not to look. That may have been just slightly under 5 minutes because the doorbell went and had a Amazon delivery, and I tried to pause my timer, but I quite like the feel of that. I like the smudging. Yes, so that is exercise 5. So now we're going to do exercise 6, which is a blind selfie in pen. I've got this pen I've been using for handwriting. I've had it a while. It's 0.4 millimeters Pilot G-Tech C4. I really like it. So let's get cracking with exercise 6. Well, here we are after that 5 minutes. That seemed to go a little bit quicker. It's really interesting seeing how small this is on the page. In my mind, I was working quite big. But yes, I don't know whether I've got better or worse. The next one is going to be very difficult. It is just by touch. I'm not going to film this one because, or shall I? Yes, let's, yeah. So this is just by touch. I'm going to go back to my 2B sketch pencil. I'll put you on time lapse. that was really hard. I was very hesitant, and look, look at what a mess that is. What have I learnt? Oh, I don't know. That I'm not very good, but it doesn't matter. I am actually having fun. So we're now on to the last one, which is to combine at least 2 of the techniques. So I'm going to lay these out on the floor. We'll have a look and see which ones I like the best so far. Exercise 1. Exercise 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. And 7. It doesn't actually look anything like me, but I like this one the most. I like the kind of broad stroke there and the granulating watercolours. So I do like that, the 2 layers, and being able to look twice was very helpful. The non-dominant hand actually is not bad. I mean, it is, it's all atrocious. This I really do not like. That kind of looks like a person. Oh, that's very abstract, isn't it? But I did like the feel of the pen. So I think I'm going to use charcoal, pen, and the 2 different media. Well, that is 2 different media, isn't it? So I'm using 4 different media. If it's breaking the rules, I don't care. I'm going to find some colours. There is an overview of them all side by side. Obviously, the ones that are done in pencil, you can't see very clearly. The ones that stand out to me as having potential actually are number 2. And in terms of using most of the page, I did on exercise 4 use most of the page, and on the last one used most of the page. I liked being able to have 2 moments where I could look. So I got the glasses in shot there. By touch was really hard. I did enjoy quite using the pastels. I'm going to have a go, or pastel pencils. I'm going to have a go at those, with those I should say, doing something where I can actually see what I'm doing. That was a very useful exercise. Yes, I've learned quite a lot about myself, which I'm not going to share here. Other than I need to like myself more and be thankful that I am still alive. Many of my friends have not made it to this stage of life. One of them in particular died far too young, and has not had the opportunity to have lines on their face, which is very sad. We need to savour every moment. Anyway, that was lesson 2 done and dusted.